It's set. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a little bit more Suzerain. Let's continue on. So at the end of the last session, we had successfully passed the our proposal, our draft. Very, very good. Very happy to see it. Now we do have to fight the Supreme Court in order to actually get that through the final hurdle, but I don't think it should be too bad. And again, we'll probably stream maybe like an hour or so of Suzerain today. So we've accepted a whistleblower. Who is Chelston Hailstone? What does he know? That's the question of the day, as President Rayne has agreed to grant refuge to his rogue national security agent from Rumberg. After escaping to Sordland, Hailstone promised to reveal sensitive government information in exchange for asylum. Whether Rayne's decision will be worth the anger and possible retaliation from Rumberg governments remains to be seen. Okay, we got the whistleblower in the safe house. We'd love to see it. And a movie premiere, let's go. They should just put like a full 90-minute movie in the middle of the game. That's what I would do. I've been invited by the exclusive preview of Alfred Kerbrooke's new film, The Morning Shall Come. Although I wasn't in much of a movie-going mood, it would have been unpresidential not to attend. With its massive budget and Kerbrooke's directorial cachet, this drama was set to be a milestone for Sordland's burgeoning film scene. Personally, though, I was just looking forward to spending some time with my family. It was a very hot and sunny day as Sergei drove us to the old capital. The film was to be screened in the historic cinema Ideologies de Eleroy, the very first cinema in Sordland. I gazed at the vast plains between Sordland and Eleroy as he drove on the H1. Sergei had maxed out the air conditioning to keep the Chaldea comfortable. Frank fidgeted with his tie as he stared out the window. What's wrong, Frank? Since when do you care about what's happening in my life? I've been a fantastic father to you, you ungrateful snot-nosed brat. I told you what happened in the war. You know, I've been busy lately, but I also have time for you. What an honor, Your Highness. My son's an asshole. Frank, don't talk to your father that way. He's been working so hard for this country. I'll just ignore him. Talk to my daughter. My daughter loves me. Are you excited to see the movie, sweetie? Dina nodded happily. What about you, Papa? You want something, right? You should smile. Keep doing your best, even if you lose. I mean, all my children are calling me out. What did I lose? Okay, I won't lose. Isn't that right, Monica? Of course. Let's just focus on having a nice time at the movies. My child has no belief in my ability to get this law past the Supreme Court. No, she doesn't, not even a little bit does she believe in me. Sergei rolled down the soundproof glass between us. Sir, as you're about to enter Eleroy, we'll be at the cinema in a few minutes. Thank you, Sergei. I took a brief look outside as Sergei rolled the soundproof window back up again. I could see the many towers of Eleroy rising over what was left of the old city walls. Sergei knocked on the glass and gestured forward. We are at the main square of Eleroy, at the historic Cinema Algae. The Cinema of Angels was right in front of us. Is this the place? Yeah. It was an old burlesque style corner building with walls that looked like marble from a distance. They were exquisite ornaments of each side of every window. Sergei pulled the car to the entrance of the building, which was lit with vivid neon stripes in many colors. Come on, let's get out. Sergei opened the doors and we exited onto the red carpet. We were just about to enter the building when a journalist managed to block our path. Mr. President! Mr. President! Your constitutional reforms made it through the assembly. How do you feel about their chance at the Supreme Court? I trust the justices to make the right decision. Thank you, Mr. President. And were you aware that Tarkin Zol would be present at the proceedings? I will not discuss Colonel Soul at this time. Before she could ask us anything else, the guards ushered us inside of the theater. It was contrast to the cinema's Baroque style exterior. The inside was modern and sleek, with bare walls painted in black, red, and white. The film's cast and crew were already on the foyer, with glasses of champagne in their hands. We approached the crowd and were welcomed by the producers and the event organizers. The man walked up with us with a quick step. Madam, Mr. President, it's good to see you here. He gently bowed at Monica and shook our hands. It's an honor to finally meet you. I'm Alfred Kerbrooke. Well, it's an honor is mine, Mr. Kerbrooke. I'm a big fan of your work. Frank snorted. I stared at him, and he innocently took a sip of his cola. It's very humbling to know that you've been watching and enjoying my movies. If you don't mind me asking, which one was your favorite? This one may be slightly different than my previous work. I mean, I'm assuming these are actually his movies. You know what? I love The Man Who Saved the World. He stared at me for a while to see if I was trying to understand if I was joking or not. That's by Miguel Vargas, Mr. President. I beat my film Sword's Dream with prop prize at the Benfy Festival last year. Frank looked at me in the eye and he struggled not to laugh. Why don't we take our seats? It's about to start. We entered the screening room, the lights dimmed, and the film began. I was a period drama set in the 1870s, but a swordish soldier who pursued a doomed romance with a widowed British farmer during the conquest of Bergia. As the credits rolled, I made an early exit to use the men's room. As I was washing my hands, I heard an unmistakable voice behind me. So, what did you think? Parkin's soul leaned on his cane. He felt the same frail appearance I had noticed in the assembly meeting. Yet, up close, I could still sense the raw magnetism that had kept him in power for 20 years. I'm happy the plight of the Bloodish might finally get the attention that it deserves. Be careful where you extend your sympathies, President Rayne. I'm surprised to see you still around, sir. What were you doing at the assembly? My country was about to make a rash decision. I couldn't simply sit by. You know what? I'll be nice to him. I still have immense respect for you, Colonel. I wish it was reciprocated. It will be when you prove yourself worthy of it. Why do you want these reforms blocked so badly? I'll not let you and that bleeding heart idiot Richter tarnish my precious constitution. I'm doing this for the good of the country. Ha! Some of the spittle landed on my cheek. You'll find out soon enough how your country repays you for your goodness. He slipped past me and out the door. Social security staff and mine were now clustered outside the washroom, forming a buffer against a large crowd that had gathered. That's Tarkin's soul! I heard someone scream. His guards closed around him and mine around me. By the time the chaos subsided, it was back in the car with my family and Soul was long gone. Oh, President Soul, President Soul. Okay. Goldman and Lackhaven are experiencing a period of significant growth, leading to a major expansion in the workforce. This boom of business has not only boosted the company's fortunes, but also created numerous job opportunities. We love to see it. New Golston branch in Avery, substantial boost to the local economy. What about this report? Oh no, unstable? Why is it gone? It's gone down 2 points? Yeah, we'll worry about that a different day. Magnolia warns against Vaxlandian threats in the sea. Yesterday, Prime Minister Martin Van Horten made a statement announcing Vaxland's activity in the Marquian Sea. Vaxland's military activities only strengthen our resolve to defend what is rightfully ours, and to prove to the world that our alliance with Sordland is a necessary step to keep Vaxland's aggression in check. And Dirty extends blessing on Descension Day. Supreme Wiseman Jorga Azmal has issued a special address on the sacred day of Descension, sending blessings to the global Nurists community, including those in Sordland. He encouraged all to reflect on the teaching of Nurity, and specifically Saint Rurik, and the upholding of principles in their daily lives. In a veiled reference to recent tensions, he appeared to reaching Golconda and mutual servitude to God among all nations, irrespective of their belief. Okay. And what's going on in the Security Pact? In a spirit of demonstration of international solidarity, the CSP has dispatched a peace armada to assist the Xeon Economic Council, the XEC, in combating piracy. The move has been warmly received by the XEC, including Canal, Shilina, Narashima, and Fenkal, and further strengthens the cooperative tensions between the CSP and the XEC. The Peace Armada, led by flagship vessel Slovoria, comprised of a diverse fleet of destroyers, frigates, and support vessels. Their mission is not only to deter piracy, but also to provide humanitarian aid and bolster maritime security in the region. With this action, the CSP reaffirms its commitment to upholding international maritime security and extends its support to allies and strategic partners during the time of crisis. Okay. And the ATO's International Expedition Command has established a groundbreaking presence in Polaris, uncovering a wealth of untapped energy resources. These resources, showing a promise of sustainability and high yield, have sparked global interest and paved the way for further exploration in the polar region. A scientific achievement, the discovery is said to be a potential game changer in the energy sector. During the expedition, the team also encountered indigenous communities that had remained untouched by modern civilization. As they are brought into contact with the outside world for the first time, the ATO now faces the delicate task of respecting their traditional integrity while establishing or enabling their integration into the global community. The defined balance is strike between advanced scientific exploration and ensuring the welfare of these unique communities. Okay. What's going on in the rest of the world? Narbel. Expansion to Gosum Brants. We love it. A large British nationalist organization, Erzrin, the Children of Islam, and the local Golkondis cult, Golkanka Bluderat, have publicly declared its full support for the militant organization, the BFF. The Children of Islam, known for the strong advocacy of British rights and interests, aligning itself with the BFF publicly, has raised concern about the potential escalation of violence and destabilization in the region. Okay, we have like 3 big choices here. Okay, threats against Nurists. Governor Kroll has issued a warning to the residents of Bergia, urging them to remain vigilant against the threat of Golkondic extremists and potential violence targeting the Das Nurist community. The governor expressed concern about rising tension between the 2 Nurist groups, specifically highlighting the threat that Golkondism imposes in the region. There's so much to go through. Okay. As the BFF continues to sow seeds of unrest and jeopardize the fabric of our nation, a specter of their extremist ideology looms large. The government, along with the governor of the special zone of Bergia at the forefront, confronts the growing BFF threat, though questions arise about the effectiveness of their response. The BFF's alarming rise poses a clear and present danger to our society. Their radical activities and subversive agendas have gripped communities, stoking fears and undermining our national security. The governor acknowledged this peril and has led to intensified efforts to counteract the BFF's influence. As the threats escalate, citizens increasingly demand a comprehensive plan to neutralize the BFF and safeguard our way of life. Okay. The recent exclusive screening of Alfred Kubrick's new film, The Morning Shall Come, was attended by an unexpected guest, former President Tarkin Sol, rarely seen outside the home of Dur Island since his 1949 resignation. And a new law on the Swordlish language vetoed. The Unified Language Act has been vetoed by President Rayne after approved by the Grand National Assembly by majority vote on Thursday, following a 3-hour debate. Okay, campaigned heavily for the bill, criticized President Rayne for its decision to veto the act, saying that contained much of the vital new rules that would have unified Swordlish education and protected the integrity of the Swordlish language and identity. Okay, investments have boomed in Gosum. Fantastic, fresh capital in hand, all eyes will be on Gosum's next moves. An exclusive screening of the new film has made a splash, but not for the content of the period drama itself. Instead, the film is overshadowed by 2 political figures in attendance. President Anton Rayne, who made a trip from Haldesor with his family, and former President Tarkin Sol, who's barely been seen on the mainland since 49. It's rumored that the 2 of them spoke in the washroom following the film. At a screening at Alfred Kubrick's overblown sob story, The Morning Shall Come, President Anton Rayne and former President Tarkin Sol were seen exiting the bedroom together. While the illicit assassination is not out of the question, it is far more likely the 2 invertebrate politicians were making backroom deals about which sword is public, as usual, will be kept in the dark. The radicals committed to keeping the bottom of this meeting, and we'll keep readers updated as the facts emerge. It's the least that he could have done. Anton Rayne struck down the proposal of the NFP's Curso Kibner that would have made Swordish the only language allowed in the country's education institutions, with rare individual exceptions granted by the Ministry of Education. Presented as a measure to promote integration and unity, the bill is a slap in the face to the Sordland's Bludish community and other non-Swordish speakers, not to mention the outright denial of the diversity that makes this country what it is. Kibner must not be happy about this, but we are. So what shall we do first? Diplomatic strategy, a dinner with our family, or the Day of Descension? I think we'll go with diplomatic strategy first. I don't think it matters in which order we go. The doors to the White Room, like everything else in the Rune Palace and Main's Nerve Center, was painted white. I took a deep breath before pushing them open. The time was yet another meeting. At least this time it was with people who liked me. The attendees rose up from their seats. Mr. President. Yosef nodded. He and Lucien sat down while David remained standing. Now that you're here, let's talk about our diplomatic strategy. David cleared his throat. Mr. President, if I may, I would like to provide you with a short overview of where we're at right now. Of course, go ahead. Although we did not make a trade deal with Valent, we succeeded in making one with Agnolia, which means that we've increased our presence in the region. These deals were important pieces of leverage and significant first steps into the global arena. We must now look towards the future. Okay, go on. David sat down, pulled out a few papers, and started going through them as he kept talking. Whale and Magnolia were practice runs. We must begin improving relations with greater nations. We need to elevate our international standing, especially with the threat of Rumburg looming. Yosef cleared his throat. Mr. President, you know me. I don't trust the helping hands other countries offer us, for good reason. But I also know when those helping hands are necessary, and right now, we need all the help we can get. I've said this over and over, but I repeat it until we can get it through your skull. Rumburg will come, sooner or later. And with the current state of our military, if a Rumburg invasion happens, Sordlands will cease to exist. We need allies. We ought to heed General Lucien's advice, Mr. President. Okay. I trust your assessment, Yosef. Thank you, Mr. President. Military perspective is important, but these deals are more about just getting allies. We need to consider the benefits to our economy such deals will provide, especially when we are still struggling at the end of the recession. David took a seat and brought out 2 stacks of documents. At the start of our term, we had a comprehensive trade deal plan laid out. Following the visits to Wayland and Magnolia, we were to pursue potential trade deals with 2 greater nations. Vaxland is one of them, or at least was. Unfortunately, a trade deal with them is no longer seems possible. In Vaxland's case, given the country's territorial ambitions, our alliance with Magnolia was rather a slap in the face. Now those commies won't be able to invade Magnolia without facing the might of the Swordage armed forces. It'll make them think twice. True, but as a result, we won't be able to conduct a trade deal, let alone proceed with any diplomatic mission for the moment. Unfortunate. So much needless dispute over such a small island. I'm afraid it might get much worse in the future. As we stand right now, any kind of deal with Vaxland is simply out of the question. Now on to Lesbia. Our southern neighbor is one of the wealthiest countries in eastern Mercopa. A trade deal with them would be very beneficial, but not just for economy, but for our regional and international presence. Not to mention that they are in the Arcasian sphere. A trade deal with them could open many doors for us. True, a country as influential as Lesbia could help alleviate our economy, or elevate our economy. That is it for the overview. As for the actual contents of the trade deal, Lucien pulls out a small notebook and quickly flips through the pages until he lands on the right one. Looking at the stats here, we now have a small tungsten surplus, which makes an excellent resource to trade. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I need to know your decision before we can proceed. What should we do? Before you say anything, remember what I said. We need allies, not just trade deals. If Rumburg attacks, we will fail. Yes, we'll begin negotiations with Lesbia. Excellent news! I'll begin at once. That's all I had for today, and thank you for coming. I feel like this could have been a phone call. This could have been an email, but, you know, it is what it is. Isolated polio cases seen in Bergia. Several villages in Bergia have safely been placed under quarantine after a few polio cases were diagnosed in the region. The outbreak is largely confined to Wayland, and there is a little chance of further infections occurring at Sordland. Even if there was, the disease's most notorious symptom, paralysis, is only seen in a minute percentage of cases, and there's no need to alter the Swordage way of life. As Health Minister Pascal Benawal has suggested his vaccination program in order to prevent its spread. Okay, more polio cases. And Rayne will visit Lesbia for trade deal. President Rayne has scheduled a visit to Lesbia in order to discuss a potential trade deal with Prime Minister Patricio Alvarez. Exactly what will be on the table is unclear. Although insiders speculate Rayne could be preparing to offer Swordage fish, wheat, coal, or tungsten in exchange for Lesbian capital. An alliance between the two countries is also not out of the question. It is clear that this visit will bring Sordland closer in alignment with Arcasia. Okay. Loren, health quality is improved. We love to see it. And you know what? Let's have a lovely dinner with our family, because I don't think that'll cause more news to appear in the tabloids. I arrived home from work, hung my jacket up, and put my briefcase in the hall. I paused, awaiting my usual greeting for my wife and daughter Dana, who was out of one of her after-school art classes. I remembered. But where was Monica? From the living room, I heard a muffled sob. I entered to find Monica sitting on the sofa, a letter in her hands and a look of despair on her face. Darling, what's wrong? Monica briefly rested her head on my shoulder, then handed me the letter. It's from the Department of Education. Frank's university exam results are in. Oh, my son is an idiot! He's so stupid! He failed, didn't he? Just read the letter. I looked at the page. Below Frank's name and address, his score was written 435 out of a possible 1,000. At the bottom of the letter with the word failed stamped in red. All those years of effort, all those private lessons, all down the drain. Does he know the results yet? No, but You should be back from school soon. I just don't understand. Frank's a smart boy. Why would he sabotage himself like this? I heard a key turning in the front door. Frank stomped in and was about to go straight upstairs when he noticed us both in the living room. Mom? Dad? What's going on? Have a seat, Frank. He took a seat across from us, and I handed him the letter when he started reading it. Ah, shit. Son, we're not angry at you. I need a moment. He went to the kitchen sink and washed his face. A moment later, he came back. I never thought this would happen. I'm so sorry. How could you let us down? You made your mother cry with your actions. Yeah, you made your mother cry, you piece of shit. You made my wife cry. I know. I can't do anything right. You can't. You're a dog shit son. Frank looked close to Clears. Monica put her hand on his shoulder. It's going to be okay. But you really should have studied harder, Frank. I know. What am I supposed to do now? I mean, there's always military school, but you're the president's son. You still have options. Yes! Monica surprised me with her enthusiasm. If Alfonso could get his dimwit son to Kingshill University, I'm sure Sword State would have room for a bright boy like Frank. I'm not taking life lessons from Edward Alfonso. Let's just say, if I could live my life again, I want to be born into a family where I could have extreme nepotism, right? Like, that would be awesome. I do have connections to the board. Sword State would be amazing. A bunch of my friends are going there, and I would still come home to do my laundry. But I failed this exam. That sucks. Are you sure about all this? Isn't it technically illegal? Nepotism! 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 I will influence your life. Should we be Nepo baby Frank, or should we let him live with the consequences of his own actions? Because this is not going to make me popular, presumably. But will they know? Like, will the public know? Nah, nepotism all the way, baby. Thanks so much, Dad. I swear I won't let you down this time. Monica let out a long exhale. What a day. Who's hungry for dinner? Let's get some DoorDash. Yeah, I sent it to the army and he died when Rumber crushed us. Oh, my stupid son's getting shot in the head, bleeding out in a ditch in fucking Lesbia. Deserves it, maybe. Monica disappeared to the kitchen. Frank to his room. I went to my office and began making some phone calls. Ah, shit, it's already made the tabloids. Watani Ashraf, hero of the some, enemy to others. He was sure to be one of the more controversial figures who have ever lived in our country. As his anniversary was approaching, there was one question that was shared on everybody's minds. What will the administration do? Every year, people gather in Suzerain to hold a vigil in a solemn anniversary of his death. They light their candles in his memory and hold cultural festivals. What's the difference this year, however, is that they're claiming that the Blush movement will be holding the largest rally ever yet as Suzerain during the anniversary. Perhaps it is time for the administration to let bygones be bygones and take a step back to display a unity of Sordland that the people very much need. Okay, new school's been completed. Things in the country are getting better. Look at it. Look, we're still on the up and up. We're on the up and up, baby. We're going to the moon. Going to the moon. A morning haze surrounded the city of Deir as the sun dawned on the day of Descension, the holiest day of the Nurists religion. It celebrated the first message received from the god by Saint Dast and his 30 disciples. As per the tradition, the celebration was held inside the Ark Sanctuary of Das Nuriti, closed to the public eye. This year, however, for the first time, it's going to be televised. That was Lucian's idea, as he saw it granting the people a rare glimpse into the grand ceremony and showing them how seriously their president took this holy event would eat any tension that lingered in the region. And so we arrived at the largest cathedral in Sordland. A huge crowd gathered around our convoys. Our car pulled up to the entrance. This will work out well, trust me. Of course, that's only if the prayer is done completely correctly. Please do not forget the order. First, you will need to grasp the holy scepter with your left hand. Then touch the altar with your right. Kneel before the archpriest and wait for him to put the sword on your shoulder. Then touch the sword with the hand that touched the altar with. Hand the scepter over to the archpriest and receive the sword before passing it to the disciple. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? Can I get a pen? What if I just write? I'll just write it in chat. That'll be my. So left, scepter, right, altar, kneel, wait for sword. There's an in-game note. Is there? Oh! Since when has there been a note tab in this game? Left. See, I just remember everything in my big boy brain. So it's left, scepter. You're gonna look. It doesn't need to be spelled right. Okay, right, altar. You guys gotta know. Kneel, sword, touch sword with the hand I touched the altar with, which is right. Hand scepter over. Receive sword. Pass to disciple. I can spell, okay? This event states the only time the note tabs is useful. I don't understand a word you just said. Just do your best to remember it. We can't afford to lose our religious base over this. You will need to go do you think the average person knows the steps to do this tradition? I doubt that they do. You have to go first. I'll come inside later and we will meet up after your part is done. Good luck. I exited the car and I was greeted by a chorus of cheers and camera flashes. Okay. I waved to the people as I made my way to the grand gates. The Arch Sanctuary was a sight to see. With its towering visage, I cast a shadow over the large portion of the city. I had to crane my neck to see the narrow spires at the top. Just standing next to it made me feel the awe and dread of equal measure. As I reached the gates, I spotted my welcoming committee. The archpriest and his disciples were waiting for my arrival. After my approach, they all bowed their heads in respect. The archpriest gave me an infectious smile as he straightened back up. Tall and handsome, mid-50s, he was one of the youngest and most popular archpriests in history. Some of the more avid followers even likened him to Saint Dost. Mr. President, praise God. It is a blessing to see you on our most holy day again. Welcome, welcome. Oh, excuse me. Do I bow my head? Yeah, I'll bow my head. I bowed my head before the archpriest, which triggered a few murmurs of approval from the crowd. The crowd was still cheering loudly. The archpriest turned and raised both his hands, and everyone immediately fell silent. Oh, great people of Sordland! Once again, we gather here to honor the day of Descension. I'm indescribably happy to be sharing a moment with you, as well as every blood and sword, old and young, tuning in to their television to watch this holy commemoration. Along with the leader of our great nation, I say, let the holy day begin. Stay far from evil, O sons and daughters, for evil hides itself under many disguises. Disguises such as blasphemy, apostasy, and even alcohol. Be good, my children. Praise God. Praise Sordland. He smiled beautifully, as the crowd burst into rapturous applause. After some ado, he turned to me. Shall we move in for your confession? Hold him aside for a photo. My confession? Yes, just like last year. Every man must confess before the holy ceremony starts. He led me through the main hall, which had a stratospheric ceiling and a Nurists icons lining the walls. He walked up to the creaking spiral staircase on the top floor and finally arrived in front of the confession chamber. Right this way. He gestured towards the chair in the dark room. The room smelled of old mahogany and scented candles. The archpriest proceeded to light each and every one of the candles, one for each virtue and vice. I'll be right with you. He left the room, and a minute later, I heard the sound of a sliding window next to me. He spoke in a very soft voice. Anton Rayne, speak. Speak and confess now before the one God, and he resent your sins on the most holy day of Descension. I confess that I was involved in some shady dealings. We all sin at one point in our lives, such as human nature as deemed by God. We must sometimes sin because it is necessary. Yet, like all, we must repent. So who is this committed with? Is the archpriest fishing for information? I'll be honest. Marcel Caranti. I see. This must have been done unnecessary for the greater good. Anything else you'd like to confess? I've been a great husband. And I confess that I'm not sure what I'm doing for Sordland is enough. You do carry a heavy burden on your shoulders. What have you confessed is not a sin, but if you like to share your burden with me if you like. I'm trying to reform the country, but I don't know if the country is ready for it yet. Reformation is one of the tenets of Nurity, yet it must come slowly but surely. Anything else you'd like to confess? No, that's all today. Before God, I thank you for sharing. Have I done anything bad to my wife? I don't think so. You are now forgiven before God, Anton Rayne. May you never sin again. The sliding window closed, and the archpriest entered the confession chamber. For the confession to end, you must extinguish the candles representing each one of your virtues and vices. With this, the once burning sin connected to you is now smoke and then nothing. One by one, I extinguish the candles. Well done, Mr. President. Let's move on to my quarters before the ceremony. Before he led me through the 1,000-year-old corridors to his office. Did I let Monica speak? I didn't let her speak, but, you know, I supported her when she spoke up. So it's kind of the same, in a way. Well then, please have a seat. The wooden chair next to him looked like it might turn to dust at a single touch. I sat down gingerly. It was surprisingly sturdy. Are you ready for the ceremony? I'm a bit nervous. Happens to the best of us. It will be televised after all. He leaned back in his chair comfortably. I want to give you something. A gift to celebrate the special day. He pulled out a large rectangular box from his desk drawer. The box was lined with gold and expensive gemstones. A beautiful sight, isn't it? He opened the box and showed me what was inside. It was a dagger. The handle looked like it was made of pure gold and had a very large gem on the end. On the blade, the words were inscribed, Victor insista, victory is close. On the other side sat another set of words, King Egmont. This dagger belonged to King Egmont. It is a very important artifact of the Kingdom of Sordland era. It is now yours, Mr. President. Can I accept it? It is an honor. I think if you ban creation doesn't mean he doesn't give you the dagger. Okay, I'll accept it. It is an honor. Think of the past and think of who we are. Traditions are what brought us to this point. Now then, it should. Hey, I got an achievement. A couple of knocks were heard on the door and a young boy came in. He bowed before the archpriest, then me, for letting us know that the ceremony was about to begin. We made our way downstairs where the ceremony was already in progress. The choir sang angelically as the archpriest took his position beside the altar. When they finished their hymn, an expectant silence fell over the room. It was time for my part. Okay. I think scepter with left. Touch altar with your right. And then I want to kneel. Kneel before the archpriest. Scepter in hand, I knelt before the archpriest. The archpriest lay the sword on my shoulder. And I want to touch it with my right. And then I'm going to hand the scepter to the archpriest. I handed the scepter to the archpriest and waited for him to give me the sword. The archpriest handed me the sword. And now pass the sword to a disciple. I got up and proceeded to my designated spot next to Lucien, who leaned over and whispered into my ear. Compared to last year, that went surprisingly well, sir. Hey! I got an achievement for doing that. In the eyes of the archpriest, he was very slightly nodded. The ceremony went on for another hour and a half. Finally, the new bells chimed, marking the end to the cathedral service. We left the cathedral to greet the waiting crowd. I stepped outside. I heard everybody cheering and chanting my name. Lucien's gambit seemed to have been a success. We waited proudly for a minute or two. See, sir? Told you it would work. We entered our cars and drove back to our suites in Deer. Yes, we've got ourselves another collectible. We're going to read the news. As part of our grand ceremony, the day of Descension had begun the festivities in Deer. President Rayne was in attendance along with His Holiness, the Archpriest, who together performed a sacred ritual. The mentioned occasion was celebrated by everyone, regardless of their rank and status. Okay, what's going on around here? Supreme Wise Man Yorgai's Mail has made express his deep appreciation for President Rayne's successful conduct at the Day of Descension rituals. He congratulated the President on his performance and sent blessings on behalf of the Nurist Republic of Deerdia. As Mail's congratulation message highlighted the potential for religious diplomacy for fostering strong relations between our two countries. However, he expressed hope that religious goodwill can translate into improved political and social conditions for all Nurists, but especially Golcondas in Sordland. We have one more report. The ATO has issued a vehement condemnation of the drug trafficking activities in Central Macopa. The illicit trade is said to expand several regions, including Kalarad, Erdmark, Valand, and in particular concentration in Asgard. The growing concern for the international community, Asgard, under the rule of narco lord Severo Riso, has earned an infamous reputation as a major hub in the narcotics trade. Rios, however, maintains that his intentions are to regulate and legitimize the drug trade rather than exploiting it illegally. Surprisingly, this has even expressed an interest in acquiring ATO observer status, in an attempt to engage more openly with the international community and alleviate concerns. Nevertheless, the ATO's concerns revolve not about just law and order aspect, but also the stabilizing socioeconomic impact of the activity. Drug trafficking has boosted the shadow economy, bred corruption, and fueled violence in the region. The ATO insists on a robust international effort to counter these activities, despite the ambitious and somewhat controversial prospects of from Rios. Could you imagine if like Colombia during under oh, I can't remember his name. He was in Narcos. Pablo Escobar had tried to like join NATO. He's like, I'm doing things legally, man. So wait, where was this? I've already lost the event. It's Asgard. So you're basically like a drug state at this point then. Very cool, very cool. But I will say, I know I said I was going to do for an hour. It's been like 40 minutes, give or take. But I think we're going to end the stream here for today. So thanks for tuning in.